Welcome to Bonehead Weekly. And oddly enough, usually, unless it's a guest, these two, normally Chad, sometimes, a lot of times James, pick our topics or come up with our topic ideas. But this one's me.
And that's why we're talking about gravy ladles this week, ergo Chad's name.
You need gravy on everything. As that old lady says in those Frank Red Hot commercials, put that shit on everything. Now,
Not everything needs gravy. If you know what that's an allusion to, feel free to comment below.
By the way, can I just talk about how big of a dumbass I am? Because I didn't want to feel stupid writing this. I have been spelling ladles wrong for years.
Have you been
I,
spelling it with two D's and a nine?
why
Because
do
that's
you need,
laddies.
how often do you have to
Laddies.
write ladles?
And
Uh,
great. And by the way, if you've been spelling it laddies, Gravy Laddies is a club that you
James,
should not go to.
how
so,
often do ladles come up in your correspondence?
so uh,
More often than not.
this is just how crazy and dorky I am. I'm tired of Siri. I got tired of Siri responding to me by my name. So you can actually program your phone to refer to you by whatever name you want. So my phone calls me Sir Trollbutt, Viceroy of Gravy Ladles.
As
Good for you.
one does. Is
And
that what you prefer us to call you? Because I can't
I
remember
typed
all
it
that.
in as Ladels.
Mm.
And I thought that's how you spelled it
Did
until I
Siri
just
call
looked
you
at,
out?
no.
Oh,
It,
so now Siri just is like, I'll play along. I feel
yeah,
sorry for
Siri's
it.
been playing it like that for years.
That dumb bitch.
Um,
I never just
so
get to say that. So thank you, James, for giggling. It's just a funny thing to say. You dumb bitch. Not towards a gender, just you dumb bitch.
This is a book about the Great Plague at Cambridge, written by Evelyn Lord. I got to present on a panel with her once. I just wanted to say that out loud.
Yeah, that poor lady had to sit with a dumb bitch.
She's professor emeritus at Cambridge.
I was
and
talking
if
about
James would just
you.
pay for my ticket, he would look so much smarter.
Didn't you hear me say that poor lady?
I did know I knew you were
You a
referring to
dumb
me.
bitch. Sorry.
You are. You're right. I'd make no, dude. I know what I am. I know what I am. I know what I
Oh,
is. I know
nobody
what I
thinks
was.
you're a bitch.
No, some
Yeah.
people like those.
Nope, you're just a straight up
Like,
hoe.
Straight up hoe.
mm.
Faux show.
You're just jealous because nobody wants what you have.
No, you are correct.
Yeah.
No one.
Well,
A
I'm glad
long
we got all
line.
this out at the beginning. Did we have a topic?
Yes, here's the topic. So this is I'm the last one to procreate in our friend group, and so a lot of this stuff they've experienced before me, but getting to show my son is
Oh,
things getting to show my son all this literature written by this dumb bitch below me on the screen.
I,
Sorry.
well, funny, but the only thing about that is like mine were arranged across the top, so I don't know how you have your Zoom formatted, sir.
Well, it doesn't
I
matter.
don't know which one you're referring to.
Use you. Use the only one here is use the only hoe. So
I'm the
introducing
only one
my
on
kid to
Google
stuff.
Scholar.
Hold on. Yes, you're smart. You're smart. You Dr. Dumb Bitch. Now, I
That's Mr. Sir.
Mr. Sir Esquire, Dr. Dumb Bitch. I have got to re-experience a lot of things I hadn't seen in a long time. And over the Christmas break, the holiday break here in Kentucky got extended quite a bit because of a major ice storm. Not to forget about the snowstorm and the damn flooding that we've got going on, which will hopefully
Ice Storm,
be,
by the way, is a phenomenal film. You should watch it if you haven't.
yes.
is
That
that with
being
Juliette Binoche?
Did you just cuss me?
Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and Kevin Kline.
Okay, never mind.
That being said, we have been re-experiencing. So the whole time there was one particular one, and I'll talk about it in a minute if you all want me to go first as an example of this. But
Sure.
it's really oh, I really like this and didn't like this. And then you watch it maybe 5, 10, in my case, 20 years later, and you just have a different experience. And I'm trying to figure out, is it because I'm old now? Is it because I'm seeing it through the eyes of my child? One of them that is one on my list, I think, is because I'm seeing it through the eyes of my child. But the other,
Taste change.
I guess. So to give you so I was explaining this to them, and I was trying to, and I don't remember, did I give you all an example when I was trying to
Yes,
explain?
yes. You gave us an example.
So here is mine, and this is what I'm going to go first. For years, I have been, I mean, he's only 7. It's not been that many years, but for the last couple of years, been trying to get him to watch Indiana Jones. He wouldn't do it. And finally, my son thinks Chad's girls and James's kids are older and more cool, and Dad's the lamest thing on earth. So Silas and Amelia were at my house, and they wanted to watch The Dial of Destiny. And they turned it on. And I would turn on Indiana Jones. He'd just leave the room. He's like, I'm not going to watch it. I don't know. He's obstinate. Must get it from his mom. Now,
Right.
Mm,
well, part of it, part
mm.
of it,
We're just gonna look this way.
the sarcasm, the sass, but part of the obstinance. So we started watching it. He started down a track. So it led me to rewatch all of the Indiana Jones films. And Raiders is still a classic. All the criticism towards it still ring true after all these years, but it's just a fun, it's a wonderful B movie. It's one of the best B movies ever
Right.
made. What, Raiders of
Oh,
the
I
Lost?
was still referring to the first thing.
Oh.
Sorry. We're
Because I's a dumb bitch. Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the best B movies ever made with an A budget. Just is. Now, I went back, and one of my least favorite has always been Temple of Doom, and I loved The Last Crusade growing up. Watching it through later with my child, I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed Temple of Doom and thought Last Crusade completely missed the mark, especially when you watch them back within a couple of days of one another, right? Over 2 or 3 days of how they kind of not only did they, and we've talked about this a little bit on here, not only did they screw up Marcus's character, Marcus Brody, they screw, and it's funny, it's still funny and entertaining, but they completely change John Rhys Davies' character too.
Sala.
Sala, I mean, he's kind of a badass. He has a little bit of humor to him, but he's much more a badass in Raiders than he is and he's not, he's kind of a bumbling oaf in the third one. Marcus Brody is not an idiot in the first one. They change him into kind of a bumbling oaf in this. There's a ton of humor in it. It overly course corrects from Temple of Doom. The opening scene is still good. I enjoy it. I love getting the history of Indiana. Even even Harrison is a little bit more goofy in the movie than they are in the other two. And I started watching Temple and I got really into it. And a lot of the things that drove me crazy still suck. I know she married him. I know she's probably a great actress. But the whole character that Kate Capshaw plays is so stereotypical and was really out of date even in 1984. What do you all
Yeah, I mean, but
of
it's an
the kind of the
homage.
screaming lady who's can't help herself, won't touch a bug? Oh my God. It was even a little passe in 1984.
Well, yeah, but it's an homage to the films that it's an homage to, right? I mean,
I get that. And there's a certain you can do that, but also kind of play a little bit for your time. I'm not saying that it all has to be. Oh God, I don't want to use this word because the fucking right is absconded with it and uses it for terror. Anyway, we won't get into that. We're not getting into politics. I don't want to talk about it. But she still is a little annoying. But that opening dance sequence is fantastic. The whole thing, the whole opening sequence, it doesn't stop. The movie really doesn't stop. It only kind of pauses when they get to right as they fall out of the plane and get to the castle. And it kind of pauses there. And it's really only for 20 minutes as you kind of get the exposition and backstory as they're at the snake dinner and all that, which I thought would freak out my kid, but it didn't really. It freaked me out as a kid. Of course, I hate the snakes. And it gives you a bunch of exposition of what's going on. And then by the time they sneak out of their room that night and go and see, it doesn't stop there either. It just keeps going. That movie just keeps going, gentlemen. I hate using this because it's a cliche about roller coasters, but it kind of, well, it even has a roller coaster
it has
scene
a
in it.
mine cart chase.
It has a
Yeah.
mine cart chase in it. Don't get me wrong. It's still not. It's not the best plotted out movie, but it just doesn't stop it. It just is fun the whole time. And I like the darkness now. And it's probably because I'm old and have watched a ton of horror films. But I'm not saying that it's better than Last Crusade. I'm just saying I enjoy it a lot more and enjoyed it more at 40. I'm 46. Enjoyed it more than I did the Last Crusade this time around. And I was shocked.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
I'm
led me to,
shocked. I'm shocked you're that fucking old.
uh, you're just
shh,
shocked. And
Chad, don't get him upset. His blood pressure levels. We
I did
don't
have a
know.
vein. I had a vein pop out tonight. My kid, I had a dinner thing I had to go to, and the kid was with me. And on the way back, we got home. You can see it right here. He goes, "Has that always been there?" And he started poking at it. And we're in the car. His mom went in to get him a Baskin Robbins, and he's poking at it. And he goes, "Does that hurt?" And he just keeps poking at it. Why is that there? Are you are you okay? I don't know. It's called two old fashions. Anyway, I just was so shocked about how much I enjoyed the movie. And that was my example. And I want to go with the first one. What do you all think about what I just said?
No,
I mean,
I
don't get
think
me wrong, there's criticism. None of the Indiana Jones films are perfect. They're not. They're just not.
shut your whorish mouth.
They're, they're not. I love the Evil Dead, but I wouldn't call it perfection.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. I can't get behind you on it being better than Last Crusade
I enjoyed
because
it more. I don't know if it's better. And it's more true to the characters.
I don't enjoy it. Yeah,
It is
I
more
guess
true
I
to the
can see
characters.
that,
It is.
but
It's slightly darker than Raiders, but it's closer to Raiders than Last Crusade.
I agree with that. I mean, and to be honest, you're absolutely right. And we've talked about it before, but yes, Last Crusade, unless they're alluding to the fact that the character was meant to be showing signs of dementia, Brody says in the first move, Marcus Brody says, if I was a couple years younger, I'd go with you.
Yes.
Like he is an adventurer in his own right. If somebody wants to hire me to write a series of books that are prequels about his adventures, I'll do it. Just call me up, anybody at Lucas or Disney. But anyway, the point being, yes, absolutely. I mean, so I agree with you there. I mean,
Same thing with
I,
Sala. Sala is smart. He's the smartest one there when they get to talking about the diggers.
yep,
He is smart. Not only that, he makes one joke when he sees a snake scene, and he is he makes Indy go first. It's none
yeah,
of this. Oh, I'm the bumbling help happy person that's going to help Indy in the middle of nowhere. And Ray and Tim shit in the Last Crusade, he's like, oh, ass very deadly. You go first.
yeah. Well, and I'll be honest. And I know we're not talking about the most recent one, but actually, I think we kind of get a return to him being a little bit more of what he was in Raiders and Dial of Destiny. He misses doing it, but he also knows he can't.
Yes, I agree. It's more of Dial of Destiny probably is a lot closer. And and I don't disagree with what Chad's saying. It is by no means a perfect movie. And as I said, Kate Capshaw's is it Billy? Is that her name?
Um,
yeah, she is one of the, and
not Billy.
I get the fact that she's an archetype of older films, but she pulls me out of the movie so many times just because
She's
of
annoying as hell.
she's
She's
annoying.
annoying as hell.
So
Short Round works great. I don't know. I often wonder why Short Round wasn't brought back in any way, shape, or form.
Willie, it's Willie, not Billy. It's Willie. Willie Scott.
Willie Scott. Yeah, I have no
Willie
idea.
Scott. Why did I blank on that?
That I wonder if that had been just him and Karen Allen. But technically, Temple of Doom's a prequel, right? Technically, it takes place before Raiders.
Yes, it comes before. Yeah,
So if
and it kind of makes sense
because you can
because the Stones are not as. I mean, I'm not
you
questioning
can't
anybody's
top
beliefs.
you can't top the last the Ark of the Covenant.
I mean, unless it's the Holy Grail. I mean, as far as religious artifacts go.
But I mean, I would even still say it's like the Ark of the Covenant. The Holy Grail people may or may not know, but I'm pretty sure most people will know that. What about the Ark? They've had some sort of Sunday school classes talked about that
Yeah.
at some point. Well, 20 years ago. So yes, Chad's right. I just enjoyed it more, and it didn't pull me out as more. And I just enjoyed. Oh, this is dark as hell. This is because Raiders is especially the third act. We have ghosts coming out, exploding people, killing Nazis, and melting them down.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
a,
and reequating it of everybody going, oh, they just wanted to go a little darker. Little, they did go just a little darker. It's not a ton darker than Raiders.
no. Actually,
In
I
fact,
was
it's almost right on par.
as a kid, I was more horrified by the end of Raiders, and I loved Indiana Jones. Like that was from the go. I
Yeah,
loved Indiana Jones, but to me, Raiders that ending, just that ending.
just the ending.
I think the reason everybody remembers Temple of Doom as being darker is it's darker throughout. I mean, you have forced child labor, you have all that,
And
so
you have the
it's darker
snakes
throughout.
and the monkey brains and people
Yeah,
eating bugs and the forest child. You're absolutely right. And hearts literally being ripped out of the chest as people are burned alive. It is
yeah,
dark.
but to me, it's no. I mean, it's just spread throughout the movie instead of all being at the end.
It's not in that last 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Yep.
top
So
men.
that was mine. Who's next?
I can go unless Chad really wants to. Chad, do you really want to?
I'm good.
I'm gonna go with the movie that I watched. So generally our theme then is movies that we appreciated more or less after revisiting them.
Yeah, that I didn't particularly care for or didn't,
And I'm gonna go, and I've heard several people say this. I'm gonna go with The Big Lebowski. The first time I watched The Big Lebowski, I didn't immediately love it.
I didn't immediately get it.
And so I remember watching, I rented it. I guess I would have been in college at the
I
time.
always refer to Big Lebowski as an example of the second watch.
Yeah.
It's always it. Everybody I know is, yeah, I had to watch it a second time before I had really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And so I watched it. I went, meh, okay. I watched it. It's fine. And then it was probably about a year or two after it had came out on home video. Somebody was like, oh, no, no, you've got to watch it again. You've got to watch it again. You got to, it's one of my favorite movies. Watch it again. And I watched it again. And I was like, oh, it's better than I remember. And then I started picking up on the lines. And John Goodman playing Walter is one of the just phenomenal. And so
It's a good
that's
hangout movie.
well, and that's what, and that's what
After the second time, you don't care about the plot.
yeah, and I think that's it. Like it's fun. You're absolutely right. That's a good. Hanging out with those characters, watching by myself in an apartment is like hanging out with you idiots. And I say that with nothing but love to you idiots. But it's you just have
Okay,
these.
we're just dumb bitches.
You just have these people. I mean, Walter says random, hilarious stuff. Donnie is doomed. But I mean, everything about the movie, it's all over a rug. In all fairness, I think they need to do a crossover film, and this just occurred to me. He goes on this entire quest for a rug because it brought the room together. Now, gentlemen, let me pitch this spec script to you. What if John Wick's dog urinated on the rug and they had to fight?
Well,
Just,
man, that's like aggression.
well, I
The
know.
dude
Well,
abides.
that's true. That's true.
The
He
dude
does
abides.
abide, but it did pull the whole room together.
Yeah,
Like it's more of a war of words at that point.
he pissed on your rug, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think Walter would be more involved. I think that would be. I'd watch that movie. Like it wouldn't be good, and I know that up front, but I'd watch it. You know what I'm saying? Just to see Jeff Bridges and Keanu Reeves go back and forth with
I
John
think
Goodman.
Jeff Bridges would lovingly do another Big Lebowski. He has said on multiple occasions, many, many times, it's one of his favorite roles, and it's the one movie of his. If it's on, he actually will stop and watch and laugh.
Yeah, no, it is. It is just a great movie to watch. And that's it. I think the first time because so many people had told me I should watch it, and of course I didn't see it in theaters. I waited until it came out on home video, and I rented it at a Blockbuster near campus. And so I remember watching it and going, okay, yeah, it's fine. I mean, but it didn't do anything for me. And then I watched it again later. I think actually somebody that went on to be my boss told me, no, no, you've got to watch it again. You got to see it again and get the rhythm. And I did. I watched it again and I was like, oh, okay, it is. You're absolutely right, Joe. You worded it the best.
Well,
It's a hangout.
I stole that from so Tarantino, and God knows I've listened to hundreds of hours of different people interview because that's what I like to do on my side life, and here, and Tarantino talks about Jackie Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and he calls it his hangout movie. He said, and he's right. He's absolutely right. Once you watch it the first time, the second time, all those characters are cool and you can just hang out and listen to them talk. And because you don't worry, you're not thinking about the plot.
Mm-hmm.
You just hang out. It's a great hangout movie, and I heard him say that, and I enjoyed Jackie Brown the first time. I enjoyed Jackie Brown. It's a good movie. That's not. I actually think though, I took his words and applied it to what I think what you said. To me, The Big Lebowski is one of the best just hangout movies.
Hmm?
And we know those people. We may not know them because there's other movies that you could say that about, right? That I've seen 100 times. Like I don't
Mhm.
know. It's like the Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2. I just don't know them. They're not real three-dimensional characters. But everybody knows one of those archetypes in The Big Lebowski.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Was met with some version of them.
Oh
It
yeah,
may not be that person, but everybody knows a Walter.
yeah.
Hmm.
We've known several.
I was to say, you want me to go through my Walter Rolodex?
We've known several Walters.
I can get you toe.
Get you a toe. No, dude, the correct nomenclature was an Asian American. And then he says something racist 3 minutes.
I
All right,
don't.
sorry.
I don't roll on the. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, I think Chad's up.
Okay, my turn. So if there is some weird person who actually really not weird, let me rephrase that. That is a horrible thing to say to people who actually like our show. If there is somebody who
No,
actually
I think they
listens,
know they're weird.
if there is somebody who actually really delves into what we say in our shows, um,
There are a few.
yeah, like
They know.
several years ago, you will know that I am a dread. I did not care for David Lynch. I didn't like any of his films, despised watching them, never would refuse to go back and watch them. One of my fondest memories of our show is talking about uh, the Racerhead baby and our former producer falling to the ground laughing mid recording. Um, but I have challenged myself to go back and watch David Lynch films, and this was before he passed. It wasn't in oh, I'm sad he's gone. I wouldn't, but I have had a 180 on David Lynch. I've actually watched
What?
Eraserhead, really enjoyed it. I still will never like Lost Highway, guys. I can't do it.
I've never seen all of it.
I haven't either. Can't get through it.
Eraserhead was easily explained to me by Bell Brooks.
Oh, what do you say?
It's it's a young dude trying to figure out what it's like being a dad. He's right.
Yeah, he's right. Uh,
It's the reason
uh,
why I hired him for it. He's like, oh yeah, I got it. He's a young guy trying to
speaking
deal
of,
with being a parent.
I don't know about you all, but I have listened to a couple of in memoriams about David Lynch. Nobody talks about the Elephant Man.
Some people have, but they've
They talk about his one straight movie being The Straight Story. I'm like, does everybody forget about the Elephant Man?
the one that was nominated for Academy Awards.
Yeah, I'm like, that was a straight story, and he did a fucking amazing job.
That actually was a big hit
Yeah,
and gave him his career. We that everybody forgets about.
but until that point, like if you ever asked me, David Lynch is like Elephant Man was the only movie I would really enjoy.
You didn't
But
like A
no,
Straight Story?
I believe it or not, I've never seen it.
Oh, so good. No,
I
I
need
haven't
to.
seen it. Well, I haven't seen it since it came out. I that's the one I want to revisit.
I really want to watch it. I really do.
I
Um,
think, gentlemen, you need to revisit the Cleveland show because he was underrated as a bartender.
no, I really enjoyed. That was one of the few parts of that show that I actually enjoyed.
25 times he voiced Gus. Two in Family Guy, 23 in the Cleveland show,
Uh,
and brilliant. Just Seth MacFarlane, whoever made that decision to cast him as a bartender. Perfect.
Oh, and he's also great in Meet the Fable or whatever the Fablemans, the Steven Spielberg autobiography
yeah,
as John Ford.
John
He
Ford. Oh
Have you all seen it?
no,
He's only in it for 3 minutes and nails it. It is a pitch perfect, spectacular performance. It's a wonderful movie that nobody talks about that came out a couple of years ago.
well, one of my
Pre-COVID.
favorite, and still to this day, one of my favorite David Lynch things. I think it's still on Netflix. Is that short he did where he's interrogating a monkey?
But Chad,
Uh, but this is my pick for this topic. Here's why. Because other than Elephant Man, if you said what if you Chad, okay, you don't like David Lynch. Is there one like David Lynch-esque movie you would actually watch and enjoy? It would be Blue Velvet. gentlemen, I rewatched Blue Velvet just recently. I can't watch it. I don't care for it.
Huh.
I,
It
I,
makes
I,
so much sense to me.
You prefer Black Velvet in that slow Southern style.
there's just so much. And in terms of David Lynch style, it was his most audience friendly,
It is. It's
but
accessible.
it's accessible. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. I couldn't pull it out of my head. But there's just so much about it that I don't find appealing anymore. And it was the the acting in it is kind of like oh my God, why am I've been
Over the
having trouble.
top.
Huh?
Over the top.
No, what's her name? Help
Isabella
me.
Rossellini.
Thank you. I have seriously, to our listeners, I've been having problems all day remembering people's names. I don't know. I'm getting over an illness, and I think this is one of the side effects. Um, Oddly enough, it was not COVID. But her acting in that movie, and I know it's David Lynch telling them to act this way, giving them, it's atrocious, and I could not get past it. The whole story of why he's investigating this missing year, I just couldn't get into why he's doing it. I was just like, what is going on in this movie? Where all the other David, like Mulholland Drive, I truly love, and not for the scenes that people, accuse me of liking. No, I just like that
It's
movie.
hard not to love them though.
Mm, true.
Mulholland Drive makes it's another one that makes sense to me. The
Yeah.
two things about what you're saying. One, and I may be wrong, but I am not a huge John Waters film fan, but I like John Waters. So I
Oh,
would
see,
say,
I'm a huge John Waters film fan,
but I'm not, but
but
I
not.
love John Waters.
Don't get me wrong, like Multiple Maniacs, Pink Flamingos.
There's
No,
some I like,
but
but I'm not, but I love John Waters. I would
yeah.
imagine though you would have said I don't like David Lynch films, but I like David Lynch. Would you have said that?
I, yeah, kind of. I always liked his personality. Like
That's what I'm saying. David Lynch
there was a documentary about
is an
him
actual
when,
artist.
yeah, there's a documentary that got made when we were late 90s, early 2000s. I can't remember when it came out. And I was fascinated by him. Like it showed his artwork, and it was just him throwing a piece of meat, letting it rot, and then throwing a bunch of paint on it.
Yeah, he's an artist. And
Yeah,
back to what you're saying, some of it's accessible for you and some of it isn't because that's art.
yeah.
And I think he's an art and it's so funny. I should go back and rewatch him because I haven't watched Blue Velvet in a long time either, and it was always my favorite. Wonder how I'd feel about that because Blue Velvet and back to what you're oh God, Mulholland Drive, always extremely accessible to me because I just even when it does a 180, I understood the 180.
Yeah, yeah. I did too.
I understood the reason behind it. Whereas
I said I could not get into I just could not get into Blue Velvet this time around. But again, I got into Eraserhead. I tried watching parts of Lost Highway again. I could not get into
I need to watch
my next trip is
Highway.
inland, and my next trip is into Inland Empire.
Hmm.
I want to go in to watch that. I love Twin Peaks. I could not believe I would sit there and watch all of Twin Peaks right up until, they revealed the killer,
It's never the same afterwards.
and then
There's
it
good
went to shit.
scenes. There's good scenes. There's things that play out. There's something like it never come back from it.
So yeah, I can't believe it was took me to my 40s to actually go, you know what? Oh, there's a point.
Yeah, he's an artist.
And I'm
Well, I was to
sorry.
say there's. Sorry, I was going to say there's him doing commercial work is artistic. I actually just texted you all. He did a commercial for PlayStation 2,
Yeah.
PlayStation 2, and that commercial is way. I'm a big video game fan, so gamers do not hate me for saying this. It's way too good to be a television commercial for PlayStation. And I say that's somebody that loves PlayStation. I spend way too much of my time on it. But David Lynch made a PlayStation commercial, and it is way too artistic to be a PlayStation commercial. It's called, and it's got a name. It's not PlayStation commercial. He literally dubbed it "Welcome to the Third Space."
Hmm.
It's way too smart. It's way too, and I don't think, if I remember correctly, I don't think it even shows much game footage at all. It's just literally him establishing that this is not going to be like other systems. So, yeah.
But anyway, that's my pick. So
This one's going to be controversial, and I'm about to piss.
I think I will say this. My second pick's probably going to piss one of you off.
This one's going to piss off Chad because for years I agreed with Chad. And then once again, stuck in home trying to find things that were maybe he likes them a little spooky, but I can't show him The Exorcist. And trying to find things that are PG 13, which is a bitch when you're trying to find PG-13 and it's an 80s movie, which could be probably R now.
Certain ones, yeah.
Yeah, certain ones. So we went back, and I still haven't wanted let him watch the third and fourth one, but we watched Critters 1 and Critters 2.
Uh-oh.
Have you gentlemen watched Critters 1 and Critters 2 in a while?
I don't know if I've done it within the past 2 decades, Joe. I'm gonna be honest with
I
you.
seen Critters 2 about 5 years ago.
Okay. I watched them within 24. Once again, I think it's important if you watch them in a close, like it can't be one now and 6 months from now.
Yeah.
It has to be within a short time span. And I watched both of them within 24 hours of each other. Now, don't get me wrong. The money was spent on Critters 2. Critters 2 has the slicker look. Critters 2 has a few better actors and a little bit better.
Oh, I don't think you're gonna piss me off with this because I agree with you. Go ahead.
But Critters 1 has zero fat on it.
Right.
Why that one critter gets so damn big and we never acknowledge it or explain it, and then later in the next movie never acknowledge it or explain it, and they never get it. But Critters 1 has no fat on it, moves just like this, like a good B movie should, ends. Critters 2 has a ton of fat on it.
Mm-hmm.
Slow as hell in spots. And the ending drags and drags like Lord of the frickin' Rings. It just keeps on. And then they're on the bus. And then is Charlie dead? And then Charlie comes back and we still haven't left on the bus. And it just keeps going and go. And oh, by the way, I am not shitting on Critters 2. I just was shocked of all the years of Chad and I talking about how much better Critters 2 is. And part of
It's
this,
the best Easter movie ever made still, though.
yes, no. Some people would say are King of Kings, but yes, no, Chad, you're right.
No, yeah. Or Passion of the Christ.
Or Passion. But that
I
what's better?
mean, no, I was gonna say Christopher Pike. I mean, I gotta give him credit.
What?
That's for two people.
Yes,
and
that's
Joe
for
was
the
one of them.
Jeffrey. That's for those Jeffrey Hunter fans out there.
He played Jesus in King of Kings.
Kings. That's what I was thinking. It's King of Kings. That's what I was making an allusion to.
Oh.
Good enough to play.
He's good enough to be your Lord and Savior.
Yep, Stewie has that line in Family Guy. Good enough to play Jesus, but not good enough to come back as captain of the Enterprise.
That okay. I've said all that to say Critters 2 has the better look, more special effects, kick-ass critter ball that makes no sense at the end. All those things are cool. But the
No, I
Critters,
agree. I agree with Critters being
the
superior.
Critters 1 actually has some really good laughs. Like I forgot that the critters stop on the ship as they're taking because they get away. They
Yeah.
stop to blow up their house and call them assholes.
Yeah.
They don't call them assholes, but it's like, and then they all start laughing once they blow up the ranch house.
Yeah.
So I was watching. I'm a big fan. I'm getting more into it of Red Letter Media. If you ever haven't watched it, and they do these review things, and they do something similar to this, and they were talking about how much better Critters 2 is. But I was listening to him go. I actually agree with them almost every time, except this one. I was like, no, the Critters are much more funny in the first one. They do a few little things, but most of the gags. And by the way, the guy that plays Charlie, did you all know why is Charlie the central character that gets brought back every time?
Because he's
Does anybody have a
No.
guess?
enlightened.
Contract
One of the
would be mildly
producers
different.
is his brother.
Oh, well,
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
that'd do it. Why don't I?
And now
Either
he's
one of
Seth,
the
now he's Seth
it's
MacFarlane's
the
best buddy.
producer. I think it's the producer is either brother or brother-in-law to him. FYI,
And now
that's
he's Seth
his 4
MacFarlane's
movies.
best buddy.
What'd you
Yeah.
say?
Now he's Seth MacFarlane's best buddy.
No, not the kid. Charlie, the drunk.
Oh shit. Yeah.
He's in all 4 movies.
I didn't realize. Oh, okay. He's
Charlie the drunk. Why is Charlie the drunk in all 4 movies? Why do we keep coming back to Charlie the drunk? It doesn't make any sense. When I was a kid, I just thought, oh, it's Charlie the drunk. But
Why was
now?
Otis always in the cell?
Well, that's because
he
he's drunk. Yes, but that is my hot take. I'm sorry, but when the critters, I actually laughed out loud next to my son on the couch when I had forgotten that they stop the ship to blow up the farmhouse just to be assholes.
Nice.
I don't know why. I was like, I would have written, we would have written that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Don't get me wrong. Still a cheap ass movie. Probably, yeah, that has to be the best Gremlins ripoff, right?
Yeah.
It's better than
It's better
Munchies.
than
Hobgoblins.
Ghoulies.
It's better than Hobgoblins. Hobgoblin. What a. It,
Munchies.
It's got to be better. I haven't watched Munchies since I was a kid, but it's got to be better than Munchies.
It's
I tell
better
you what,
than
it's definitely
Munchies.
better than. I'll tell you what, it's definitely better than Munchie 2.
Oh,
No offense meant to Dom DeLuise, who I love. We've done an entire episode on Dom DeLuise.
well, and
I
they even
love.
Red Letter Media even brought up that well, most people remember Critters 2 more than they actually get them mixed up with Critters and Critters 2, just like a lot of people don't actually remember Ghoulies. What they remember is Ghoulies 2 and how they like Ghoulies 2, and they get them
Right.
mixed up. I agree with them on Ghoulies and Ghoulies 2. I don't agree with them on Critters.
Yeah, I
So that
can't.
was that was my hot take.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I don't disagree with you on that one. I never did. Yeah, Critters is phenomenal. It was like my is that gateway movie. We talked about this in an
It's
earlier
gateway
episode.
horror.
It was a gateway in horror for me. It was not too scary. And it was just at that right level for me. Yeah.
Also, why are they chasing the Krites? They're just eating.
Yeah,
It
I
makes no
know.
sense. They're not even trying to blow anything up. They just want to eat. I
But
don't.
they eat too much.
Yeah, yeah, but why send two bounty? It just doesn't make any sense. Who's next?
Critters, also known as the poor man's Tribble. So
The poor
I
man's Tribble, the Tribble.
well no, because you have to. I mean, Cyrano Jones sells them for a profit, so you can't be too poor. I don't know what he charges, but he does sell. I mean, he's a seller. Um, which is a nice segue into what I'm going to talk about, gentlemen. I have not watched this movie since it came out on home video. Again, another one. And not too long ago, well, it's probably been a year, I happened to catch it on something, either streaming or I don't know, maybe it was on something I was actually watching, probably in a hotel. Um, and I sat down, and I actually stopped and was like, oh, and the visuals got to me. The visuals struck me, and I was like, I had forgot about so many of the visuals in this film, and I needed to go back and give it more credit than I gave it when I watched it the first time. And then it went in, one eye and out the other, so to speak, when I first saw it. And I was like, no, visually, I've got to admit, it's way more striking than I gave it credit for. And that would be The Cell.
I love The Cell when it came out, but I haven't rewatched it in years.
I thought, oh, it's striking, but whatever, right? And as I was watching it, I think I was in a hotel. I was probably at a conference. Went back to
Mhm.
my room and it was on TBS or something, I'm sure. Um, and I was watching. I'm like, man, it has. And now that I'm older and I've seen more films, I went back and revisited the films I didn't watch when I was younger. Like I see the homages to things like Geiger that are in there. He didn't work on it, but it's got a lot where it's just visually they're giving a tip of the hat in certain scenes to Geiger or certain scenes, and it is a beautifully twisted little film.
Mhm.
Like once she's in his head, so to speak, and I mean there are the amount of blood and everything else. I'm like, I didn't remember half that. The scene is beautiful scene. It's well done with the horse
Yep.
and all of that. I mean, and so I had to actually stop and go, you know what? I actually need to revisit it again because I did not give The Cell its due. As a matter of fact, actually, I was looking this up because I was like, if I'm going to talk about The Cell, I need to look this up. It didn't get a great welcome by critics, but one of the
Mm-mm.
critics that actually said it was one of the best films of the year, and a lot of people actually made fun, was Roger Ebert. He said it was visually striking, that more people need to give it a chance and give it credit. But most people focused on what part of that film?
Oh, J Lo.
J Lo. It was the actress that was in it, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's a really weird choice for her to do as a film." And maybe it was. Actually, I will defend her though. Like
I
she
didn't.
does.
I don't remember her being bad in that. That or Out of Sight.
No, she does pretty well in it. But I'll be honest.
Well, he was also surrounded by a huge amount of talent, Vincent D'Onofrio,
Oh
and
yeah.
then I mean,
No. It's but I mean, so that was one that I remember. Yeah, I watched it, and then I was like, okay, and that was it. And then catching it again, I was like, oh, that's better than I remember. It's more striking than I remember, and I don't know why. What was in my head when I watched it the first time that I didn't remember half the scenes in it,
I can't
being as
believe we've
visually
never talked
striking as
about
so.
it. Chad and I've always liked that movie, I thought. Or maybe it was
Mhm.
just me. In fact, I think I have it over here on DVD. I don't remember you ever not liking it. I didn't know you didn't care for it.
Oh well, no, I didn't not like it, but it was one I never felt I needed to revisit. Right? It was I watched it, I was
Well, there's so
okay.
much shit too, James.
Well, that's it. I watched it, it was okay, but I mean, and when did that come out? Do you happen to know off the top of your head, Joe? I should look this up.
It's in the early 2000s, I think.
That's
Look
what I
how
thought. I
again
mean,
he asked Joe. I'm gonna have a drinking game. He always asks Joe, doesn't ask Chad.
Do you know
Chad,
when
do
it
you
came
know
out,
when it
Chad?
came out?
2004.
2000.
Really?
You came out in 2000.
See, I was right.
And I
Well,
said,
I and
well,
I'm
James, what was my answer? Early what?
yeah, early 2000.
You know,
I
I
was
forgot
I,
right.
Vince Vaughn was in it.
which by the way, the reason I think it probably went one in one eye and out the other for me is that was the days of the Matrix. Like there were so many films that were trying to be the
God,
Matrix, trying to be, and I guess at that time it was just like, oh, this is trying to do that, but it does it on its own. It doesn't. That was an unfair comparison
Now,
by.
the director is Indian, right? From India. Tasma, I can't think of his
oh
Yeah.
name.
yeah.
Very talented. I don't know what happened. I mean, I know he did other films, but I can't tell you what they are off the top of my head.
Well, what I can say is 20-year-old me evidently wasn't ready for it. Like, well, I watched it, and again, I liked it, but I never thought, oh, I need to watch this again. Um, but watching it again, I was like, oh man, there's visually striking, important scenes in this film that I would love to see people try to imitate now. Quite frankly, I'd love to see a film have, as my father used to say, the intestinal fortitude to do some of what that film does visually.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's fine. The Cell, like I said, didn't hate it, but I never revisited it. And now I'm like, man, I should have revisited this earlier. I should have waited 20 some years.
All right.
So with me, I think this might piss one of you off. It may not. Um, One of my favorite movies as a kid was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Right. I'm going to rewatch those in the next few weeks because I wasn't a fan of yeah, but go ahead.
Um, if somebody would have told me that Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was not very good, I would have strangled them to death. Said it's an amazing film. Um, but I went back and rewatched both of them. Bill and Ted's uh, Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey still holds up, still entertaining movie. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is not very good.
I had a hard
And
I had a hard time with the third one too. I liked it.
yeah, I did not care for Bill and Ted's Face the Music.
You're
And
all you're all wrong, but partial. I'll give partial credit to all accounts.
Samara Weaving was underutilized.
Yes.
No, no. I actually, I'm assuming what you're saying is that out of the three, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is probably the best one.
It is the best one out of all three.
And by the way, you're not wrong. Like it
But I went
is.
back and watched Bill and Ted's Excellent. I just remember loving Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I mean, I really did love that movie. I watched it constantly, but there is hardly a plot. It doesn't make any sense. They're just bouncing around. They grab people, they take them back. There's not really anything to connect nothing connects the story. It's just a bunch of shit thrown together. And I was there's yeah.
Counterpoint. I'm
Yeah.
not going to sit here and listen to somebody that will defend the oeuvre of Police Academy films.
But at least there's a okay.
Smirch Bill and
Okay,
Ted.
first off, the first Police Academy story, Police Academy 2, those have actually a story put together
I haven't
that
watched it in so long.
but every Police Academy after those, okay, every Police Academy after the first one are enjoyable trash.
Yeah.
But and I still enjoy Bill and Ted's to an extent, but it is not very good, James. I just could not get into
I
it.
show it to my kid. I haven't seen that's the other one I was thinking about showing him because I was going to back to us whole revisiting and introducing him.
I just think it's part of it was our childhood. It was something we'd never seen before. I mean, we both loved Back to the Future. Joe would like Back
Oh
to the
yeah.
Future too. It had George Carlin in it. I mean, it just had,
It was my introduction to George Carlin,
yeah.
really. Um, no,
Um,
no, you're not wrong, but it's literally one of those films that is still so important to me.
it is too, to me too, and that's why I have a hard time with it because I was sitting here watching it like less than a year ago, and I'm like, what happened? I'm like,
The joy in you died.
the joy had gone a little. I'm like, it's just
Because
a,
I still get joy out of it. From that opening tune, you can't break away. Uh, all the
I
way through, I
can't
still.
remember. I didn't care for it as a kid that much.
but Bogus Journey, I still love to death. Like I will still enjoy just for its pure insanity.
Is it that, or do you just remember, just really, do you really like the movie, or you just really like William Sadler as,
William Sadler's barely in it.
see, that's all I remember liking about it.
I here, by the
He's the
way,
best part,
no,
but
the best part, especially once you learn the origin of it, is Station. Station is the best part of that film.
no, I just I was just shocked at how little I cared for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when went back and rewatched it. I was so upset with myself.
It's just part of it, though. I like you just said. You just go back to it later, and you're like, oh, you just grow up. And like you said earlier, your taste change, and I guess your taste changes more. Hopefully, we're just it's evolution, and we're evolving as people,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know. I don't think I've evolved. Because I'll be honest, like I said, I get what Chad's saying,
I
and
mean, I still, like I said, I still enjoy cartoons from that era, even though I know that they don't hold a candle to what we have today.
Sometimes, and then sometimes I'm watching them, and then I go, oh, this is pretty rough.
Yeah. Um, I just I
I
cannot I don't know.
I'll never forgive Disney for not giving me more Pit Possum Super Dynamic Possum of Tomorrow.
That was such a good cartoon.
And anyway, but no, I think what I will say to your point, Chad, is I still love Bill and Ted. I still get told it is funny how even Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves has said there's parts of that movie now that are like they found a little questionable when they were doing it, and now they struggle with it more. There's a slur toward homosexuals in it.
Hmm.
There's some other stuff,
Yeah.
but that being said, I don't know. I as much as I would love to claim that I've evolved, I think I really am still. When it comes to films that I liked as a kid, there's some sort of halo effect. I just
Yeah,
can't.
and I'm like that for the most part too. Like when Joe bashes Goonies, a lot of times I'm like, I still can sit down and
But
watch that
I
and enjoy it.
enjoy Goonie. It drives me crazy when I'm watching it
But
sometimes.
it doesn't drive me crazy. Even watching that the shit that makes no sense, I still enjoy it.
Because Goonies are
Um,
good enough. Sorry, is that
yeah.
the song? Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
Uh,
Goonies are, no, no, it's for me, it's two something. It's good. No, it's good enough for me. Yeah.
yeah, I just love those
Good
movies. So
love.
yeah, I was shocked that I out of all of them, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I'm like, oh. So
No, I,
Joe,
I I think I think the reason also though why like the parts that I liked as a kid are the parts I still like now, and it's the parts that are not like Socrates, and what my kids will never get that I still find one of the funniest parts of that movie, and it's because I'm a child of the '80s. Is when they meet Socrates. Chad, do you remember what his line is?
I
They're
can't
they're
remember.
trying to communicate with him and get him to understand, so they're picking up the sand, and Ted says, like sands through the hourglass,
Hourglass.
so go the days of our life. And Socrates goes, oh, and my kids, I watched that and I still laughed.
That's a funny joke.
My kids had no idea why I was laughing. And so
No.
I think in that way, a lot of it's now dated, which it's not dated for me, but my kids will never understand. I don't want to pause the movie and be like, you know, explain the joke. Old explain. It's not mansplaining. It's old explaining at that point. See, there used to be a soap opera.
All right. We ready for the last round?
Yeah, last row.
Because I can't believe I'm going to say this one. And this one is truly seeing it through the eyes of my son. And I still don't know that I like it, but I have a slight more, just a, I have a smidge. Well, it's more of a smidgen. It's hard to explain, but I don't sit there.
Can I help you?
Yeah.
Let me once again say We own it on DVD because of my son and because he wanted to see it. It was the first movie when he was real little, not real well, real little at the time. And to me, it doesn't seem like that long ago. But we own the film Monster Trucks on
You never talked
DVD.
about it before.
On DVD because it was the first film that in the theater. My son said, "Dad, I have to see that. Dad, I have to see that." He was probably about 4 years old, and I took him to see it, and he loved that movie. And I'll be honest, to defend whatever movie you pick, let me make you feel better, Joe. I sat in the theater watching that, and if I was by myself, and if I would have been 5 years younger by myself, I would have been like, "What?
Yeah.
But I
How I
left that.
felt when I saw Rockadoodle in the theater at 17 years old because I got dragged to it from a school thing.
Yeah, and I left the theater though with my son going a mile a minute about how awesome it was. I'm like, you know what? That was awesome. That
Yep.
is one of, and I will defend that movie to this day. If you besmirch the film Monster Truck with Lucas Till, I will defend it till the day I die because my son worshipped that movie for about 8 months, 10 months.
It's very similar to that, and it's a movie that it was a huge hit. So are the books. And we did episodes about them, and God, I've taken so much shit over the years. But my kid would rather watch Harry Potter than Star Wars, and it's because of his mom. And
I
he
mean,
likes the toys for Star Wars and stuff, but to get him to sit down and watch, he'll watch little bit here and a little. I couldn't even get him in to Skeleton Crew, which is really just the Goonies and Treasure Island, which I thought would be perfect for him. He bemoaned it every week when it was like, no, well, I don't give a shit. You get to pick everything else. You're going to sit here for 35 minutes and watch it because Dad wants to watch it.
I've been pulling much more as I've gotten older. I pay for the electric. We'll watch.
I,
Yeah.
man, I not even as I got older. I think I started that about 3 years ago. I was like, well, you can just go to another room. There's 2,700 square feet, sir. You're too scared to go downstairs. Go right down the hallway.
No, I agree. By the way, just to the point, because that wasn't an option when I was a kid.
No,
Like my dad,
no.
if there was a UK basketball game on, or there was a Western my dad wanted to watch, I didn't get the TV. It wasn't even a debate.
I was lucky enough that when Empire Strikes Back finally came out on Disney or HBO or whatever it was, I hadn't seen it in the theater, and I loved it, loved it, my first love, and I wanted to watch it. I watched it that night, and they were re-showing it the next day at 12, and there was one TV, and I was throwing a fit about it, and he wanted to watch football. Now I understand. I completely understand now. I didn't understand then, but now I completely understand. Poor bastard. All he had was his work and his women. Why was I trying to take away from it?
The plurality of that is what sells it.
All he had was his work and his women, and here he was coming home to one of them, his son. Why was this a problem? I think that's funny. I don't know if he'd find it funny, but fuck him. He's got a stroke and he can't chase me now. So throw
Oh
me
my
something at me.
God, that was dark. I
I
mean,
thought it was,
accurate.
I thought
Accurate.
it was funny too. And I love my dad, and I'm glad he's still here. And if he had a better sense of humor about it, I'd make the joke to him. Now, I have had to watch Harry Potter. His mother is reading him the books. Well, Dana read your kids the books.
Oh yeah, no, and yeah. Actually, Dana and I both did. We yes, yeah.
I'm not reading them, so I get to listen. I still think it's awfully convoluted. I still think those movies move sometimes at a snail's pace to explain something esoteric and then just completely graze over something else that would be important to the plot.
Mhm.
However, there are scenes in it that so for example, the Deathly Hallows. I understand they wanted to break that up to make more money. There's a really good 3 hour movie there. Unfortunately, there's 2 2 hour movies. Sorry, James.
No,
There's a lot of filler in that first one. But I was rewatching.
well, and we've talked about it before on the show, but they cut some stuff from the books that I thought was vital, and they
I
extended.
give you a prop. So I
Yep.
am not saying that I love Harry Potter. In fact, Harry Potter is one of the least interesting characters in the series to me. I feel
Oh
bad
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah. The Weasley family is the
the
most
Weasley
fascinating
family
family.
is way the twins are more interesting than Harry Potter.
Yeah, no, because why are they poor? It's because the choices that they've made to be good people.
The Beatrix, blah blah blah, the bad bitch
Lestrange.
is more interesting than Harry Potter. Snape, it may very well be the most interesting character in the whole 7 books.
By the way, have you all heard who they cast as allegedly are casting as Dumbledore in the HBO series?
No.
It's a big deal. A lot of people are have mixed feelings about it because it's an American actor. It's John Lithgow. They have always had British actors before because that's what J.K. Rowling wanted, but allegedly it's going to be John Lithgow, and I'm like, oh, I just hope he does Dick from Third Rock from the Sun.
John Lithgow is a good actor who can be good in anything.
Can't do
Yeah,
no wrong.
yeah,
I just don't know. He's been in bad movies, but I don't think I've ever seen him give a bad performance.
And
no,
you tell Richard Harris to say big booty, bet he can't do it.
well,
Although
not now. No, I
I
mean,
like Richard Harris and I like Michael Gambon, and they both play him completely different.
Yeah,
I agree, and
Michael Gambon is so angry.
I prefer
He's
Richard
very
Harris.
angry, ready to blow at any minute. Chad, you're right. Whereas Richard Harris plays him as the old, kindly grandfather. And by the way, out of the two of them, the one I would want to listen to tell drinking stories is him and Peter O'Toole talk about their drinking days. I could listen to it for hours. If you do yourself a favor, find it on YouTube. So that is my confession. I am not saying I'm a Potter fan. I am just saying I now get a little bit more of it, and I'm pretty sure it's just because my son enjoys it so much. He has all these questions. It's actually trying to get him to, well, if you read this,
Yeah, and all the expanded universe stuff. And I'll be honest, I know the more recent ones felt. I hope eventually they finish up New, just because I want them to finish up New.
that he's way more interesting than Harry Potter.
Well, because he's again, I'm fascinated by characters that mean well that end up constantly in the bad spots.
And by the way, if you're listening to this right now and think I am shitting on Daniel Radcliffe, I am not. Daniel Radcliffe is insanely talented, fantastic actor, is in a bunch of good movies, a ton of good movies, and is really good in most of them.
Oh yeah,
I'm talking about actual Harry Potter, the character.
yeah. No, it's a very, I don't know. It's the characters around him are more interesting. Ron's more interesting. Hermione's more interesting. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But so that is I was struggling with what my third one was going to be, and I have had to live a lot of Harry Potter lately. He got his wand last summer. That, oh God, the witchcraft in this house. Witchcraft is brought in the devil. Anyway, who's next?
I really thought you were gonna. For some reason, my mind just went to you going,
Witchcraft.
no, no. I had you going straight into Archie Bunker from the first episode of All in the Family, and why I know this scene so directly. But where he goes, I knew we had a couple pinkos in this house, but I didn't know we had a couple atheists. And for some reason, I thought you were going to go directly into that.
That
I
would have
don't
been
know.
hilarious. If I'd have been really smart, I would have done that. I am so sorry.
And by the way, nobody would have got it except me. But I automatically, oh, I didn't know. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't love it, but I have an appreciation for it. Who's next?
I guess if we're keeping that order, I was coin flipping between two, but I'm going to talk about one. And I saw it in theaters and I liked it, but again, I didn't revisit it. It's another one that I caught again, probably on TV, and went, it's good, it's good, and it deserves more credit, and it didn't get a lot of credit. I saw it at the Dollar Theater when I saw it in theaters, actually. Um, but I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan, and I defend a lot of what he's done. I showed my son Gone in 60 Seconds and be like, this is Fast and Furious in this household. Anyway, um, but knowing,
I
went back
loved
to,
knowing.
I enjoyed it, but I
We've had the
watched it.
director on the show.
I know, but I watched it again. I loved it in theaters, and I watched it again though, and knowing how knowing goes, I watched it in a different way because I knew the ending.
I need to rewatch it. I've not rewatched it since I just loved it in the theater. I
I
loved
did
it.
too. I did too, and that's what and so I wanted to say, watching it again, I actually had a moment of again because I'm not waiting on the ending. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to piece anything together. I
Just seeing it.
know,
Yeah.
I know the hits. I know what to watch, but I was watching it and going, this is way better than people give it credit for. Like the fact that, and again, I'm not besmirching any of these films, but people talk about adaptation, and they should. People talk about moonlighting. People talk about, but very few
Struck.
times.
Moonlight. People do talk about moonlighting, but they're usually talking
I'm sorry,
about
Moonstruck.
they're usually
Sorry,
talking about Bruce Willis and I almost said Sybil Danning.
that too.
Oh my
I
God, Chad's virus has jumped through Zoom.
I knew it
Sybil
was
Danning and Bruce Willis was in Moonlighting. Moonlit.
moonlit.
Sybil
Um,
Danning was moonlit. Sybil Shepherd was moonlighting.
but anyway, but no. So yeah, knowing is um, again and again a flip from what the other two have done, saying they didn't necessarily enjoy it the first time. I enjoyed this the first time. I somehow found myself enjoying it even more watching it again recently after, because how long ago did that come out?
It's been well over a decade. You remember when they used to let movies come into the theater that were that budget, that
Mhm.
weren't micro? So that's disappeared, audience out there.
Yeah, the
The
mid range.
mid-range 10, 20, $40 million movies that certain people, that's where they made, I hate this phrase, but made their bread and butter. That movie doesn't exist. That movie went to streaming.
Well, and I was going to say, and so to me, knowing is what the happening should have been.
Yeah.
About a teacher that gets tied up in this bigger world issue, and more people saw the happening than saw knowing, and that's a crime.
Yep.
Because knowing is really good. I enjoyed it the first time, but the fact I saw it recently ish and went, oh man, it does hit the beats I need it to hit. And I know how it's going to end, but I'm still sitting there going, oh man, it pulled me right back in. Knowing how it ends didn't matter. It pulled me in. So I wanted to give knowing credit. Knowing is,
And if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, especially if you're a Nick Cage fan. But I mean, it's directed by Alex. Oh my God, the director of The Crow. We've had him on the show.
Proyas,
Alex
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 Proyas.
Proyas. My damn you, Chad, and your mind virus. Fuck.
It's bad. It's been bad. I literally had to
I
refer to
actually
a
have been
guy.
doing a lot better the last few days, and I started talking to you, and you've given it to me.
You're welcome. I
No,
had to refer to a guy as Big Beard God today.
that's
The
fine.
fact that it was his wife is a
You're gonna have
problem.
to narrow it down. I was in Kentucky. 22 people turned around.
Yeah. Uh,
All right, Chad, you
oh
are
man,
last.
where do I go with this? There were
Poorly.
several different ways. I'm gonna go a little less conventional with this.
He's
I
going
want
to
to
do
talk.
that
My
swapping thing,
I
James.
want
It
to talk
doesn't have to
about.
be that traditional male and female.
my unconventional conventionist. If you know what that's an allusion to, leave a comment below.
Sorry.
I want to talk about Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
The Rock says,
From chaos comes order.
Now,
Blow it out your ass, Rock.
with the exception of two movies, and I don't know how many people will piss off who listen to our. The Rock has not made a very does not have a lot of good movies in his catalog. The only two good movies The Rock's ever done, and I think all of our opinions, maybe James disagrees, is Hobbs and Shaw
that's fun.
and
Yeah.
It's
and The
fun. I
Rundown.
don't know if it's good, but it's fun. It's the only Fast and Furious film I enjoyed.
That's why it's good, is because it's fun.
The
Okay.
rundown, I'll add one more, and it has nothing to do with the source material, but it is blissfully brilliant in that it knows to keep its runtime to 70 lean minutes. And that's his version of Walking
Walking Tall.
Tall
What was the
is
other one, Chad?
exactly rundown.
Rundown.
Oh, okay, the run. I'm sorry. Finish your story. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, James. I was just there's a couple I'd add to it.
Southside Tales.
Southland Tales.
Southland
Southland.
Tales.
I'm sorry,
So
Southside.
obviously, James has now caught the virus.
Yeah.
I just make up movie titles.
I
But
don't.
but
I
when
swear to
you-
God, that has to be a joke. Because Southland Tales is, and it is notoriously unwatchable.
I was about to say, yeah.
It's got quotable lines in it.
Okay.
Though.
It's
I-
got one quotable line.
I don't care for them, but the Jumanji sequel remakes, there's a couple of good scenes
A
throughout.
couple of good, but it's not him.
My kids love them.
Yeah, see, and that's
So-
another one my kid liked, so I've watched it once.
Oh,
or twice.
my son has played the
That
video
red
game.
one was bad. What is it? What is it?
Well, from my standpoint, let's view this. Okay, let me rephrase
No,
this.
I'm trying to find a good rock movie.
Yeah, but hold on. Let's from my standpoint, The Rundown and Hobbs and Shaw are the only two good movies that he's ever made. I will give one exception of is Gridiron Gang is a
No, I've
decent
never seen it.
drama. It's a decent drama. It has nothing that hasn't been done a million times before, but he kind of nails it.
Oh, dude,
However,
I've got to add Moana. How can you besmirch Moana?
Moana. He's right.
okay, okay,
What
fine.
can I say, Chad? Except you're welcome.
He was born to play Moana.
But there is a forgotten movie in the Rock career that no
Uvar.
one talks
Uvar?
about.
Uvar?
Huh?
What's that word? What's that French word? Uvar?
Uvar.
Uvar?
Yeah. Now I screwed it up trying to say it, but
You
yes,
said Uvar.
Uver, Uver,
Uvra.
Uver.
Uvra
Yeah,
chat.
I am
Do
contagious
you
today.
feel it Uver and above you?
Yep.
Right here above you. Uvering all over the place. The rock's Uvra.
I have some oven coming. I can't even talk. I was gonna say coming out
You're
my
using that
beehole.
oven to warm up your private parts.
Um, but it's called Faster.
Yeah.
Do you all remember this movie?
Yeah. With Billy Bob. Billy
It
Bob's
has
a
Billy
really
Bob
great is a
Thornton,
great villain in that. And Jennifer Carpenter.
Jennifer Carpenter, and
You
the
kill
the one person who I would drop everything for, Carla Gugino.
him. Don't let her know.
Yeah, no.
May have a thing for bald guys. You never know.
Oh, I have
There go that house on Pink Pigeon.
Ever since True
Oh,
Beverly Hills. Um, so but yeah, it and he is amazing in that. If you've never seen I kind of watched it, forgot about it, just thought of it as another rock movie throwaway bullshit. But I went back and watched it recently, and I'm like, he actually gives a breathtaking performance as a man seeking revenge. And it's very quick, very fast, and it's just nonstop. And he goes through the full range of emotion as he goes through this hit list of these people who did him wrong. And I mean, it picks up right. He gets out of prison. They open the gate. He starts running, and he doesn't stop until it's done.
Chad, and I don't remember it being breathtaking, but I do
I didn't
remember it
say
being good.
I didn't say breathtaking. There are several, but he gives a great performance.
Oh, I literally said breathtaking performance, but that's okay.
But his performance is breathtaking. His performance, the movie itself, not so
Well,
much.
I thought the movie was pretty good. I actually liked the movie.
It's good.
I'd forgotten about it because Billy Bob's great in it.
Yeah,
That's
Billy Bob's great, but that's kind of a spoiler, is you don't know
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, if they haven't seen it, but he's not bright, right?
who.
The Rock in the movie, he plays a character who's not the smartest, not the sharpest tack in the drawer. That's the way I remember it. He's not really that bright.
Well, towards the end, they make it out like he's not, but I mean, he has a plan. He gets everything well thought out. He gets to his goals.
I need to go
So
back and rewatch it. I
you could
mainly
say
remember that.
but he's had 10 years of in the job. He's had 10 years in prison to plan all this out. So,
Yeah.
but they never make him out to be dim-witted, but he is a rampaging bull in the
I
movie.
need to go back and rewatch it because I thought he was slightly.
Because even the person hunting him says he's, quite smart.
I don't remember. I have to go back. I just remember Billy. I remember Billy Bob's backstory being pretty good in that.
Yeah, he
Why
is well
why
developed.
it
Like I said, it's a
happened and
good
why.
movie. It's not the best. It's not the best movie ever made, but
No, it's
it's
a good B
good.
movie though.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good B movie, and and his performance in it is breathtaking. Like I said, he has that standard rock action nonsense, but he's also a man who is traumatized, who is angry, um, and he displays all that emotion.
Hmm.
I just could not believe watching Faster for because I watched it when a long time ago and it's like, oh, this is trash.
No, it's from
And
CBS Films when they were just doing the movies and it's part of Paramount, whatever. But
yeah. And I revisited it and I was like, wow, why did I just forget this? I think because I was not on a big, I've never been a huge rock fan. So,
But that's another one where I've heard people, I know him and Vin Diesel and other people bitch, but it's also another one. Like, I remember Billy Bob being interviewed and saying The Rock is one of the nicest people he's ever met in his entire life.
Right. Just
A
until
lot of other
recently,
people
there's
say,
been stuff
but not
coming out that,
we've heard. It's like, oh no, The
yeah,
Rock's the nicest guy.
yeah.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. I don't have
I
any
don't have any
mentions.
honorables.
I have one, and I loved it when I saw it. Well, I liked it when I saw it in theaters. I defended it for a long time, and it's another one I rewatched but I liked it, and I liked it. Like when I rewatched it, I liked it more. When every time I rewatched it, I liked it, and that's Constantine, Keanu Reeves,
I
Constantine.
haven't seen it in so long
I
because I like
think
the
I
villains, but didn't like him.
Wait, how's this a revisit? How's this constitute anything?
well, that's what I'm saying because I appreciate when I watched it. I watched it for that character. Now I watch it really for Tilda Swinton, and he's only in it for a few minutes. But man, Peter Stormare.
Peter Stormare is the only thing in that movie that's worth it.
I feel like
I'll
what's her
defend
face is the sister,
Tilda
Rachel
Swinton,
Weisz.
Rachel
Rachel
Weisz.
Weisz. Yeah.
It's actually both sisters. Um,
Oh yeah, that's right. I wonder if she
but
got paid twice.
no, I'm sure she did.
Rachel Weisz.
But no, Tilda Swinton as Gabriel is I do appreciate, like, I appreciate it now more than I did when I watched it the first time.
I need to go back and
Um,
rewatch it. I know he loves it and has wanted to do a sequel for years and years. He
allegedly it's
loves the
coming.
character.
Yeah,
Allegedly
it's coming.
But
Well,
I just don't know. I hope they got Peter Stormare to come back because nothing that may be. Man, there's so many people that have played the devil really well. John Glover did it well, but there is something about how slimy and just man, Peter Stormare's devil, and that is just perfect, perfect. So anyway, yeah. So that's just an honorable mention because the reason it's honorable mention didn't make my main list is I enjoyed the film when I watched it the first time because to be honest, I enjoyed it because of the hell scenes. The way it interprets hell is just being one step removed from where we are now. We're just, if you phase shift right over here, you're in hell. But now when I watch it, I'm like, man, Tilda Swinton and really Peter Stormare. Peter Stormare's in it for what, 3-4 minutes, Chad, and he owns that movie.
Oh, look,
does.
Chad, he said you.
I know. I got it once. I got it. Yay!
A bunch of bullshit.
my love is fickle. Fickle, I say.
Face and penis are fickle.
I mean, my face doesn't have much going for it.
Fickle tickle. Well, this has been.
I just said my face.
Yeah. Well, there's nobody going to argue with that. This has been Bonehead Weekly. Thank you.